All right, you are welcome to the part 2 of everything about Pixellab, right? You are welcome to this part 2 of the details about Pixellab, right? So in the first part I spoke about text already, and that was where we stopped. So I'm going to talk about shapes from here. I've spoken about everything you need to know about text, right? So I'm going to talk about some amazing things that you need to know. Right now, let's talk about shapes, right? Because that is the next thing here. We have this. I've actually talked about this, my projects, and all of these templates. I've spoken about text and codes. Then I'm here. Now, this is for text. No, not text. This is for everything except text. I'll come again. This particular one, look at this. This particular tool. Yeah, let me just call this tool. This particular tool is for everything apart from text, right? So if you want to deal with text, if you want to work on text, if you want to work with text, then you don't have any business here except for the Bézier, because in fact the Bézier does not have to do with text. That's one thing, except you want to create your own custom text using the Bézier tool, right? But then if you want to deal with anything text, then this is where you come to. But then if you want to do with anything apart from text, then this is where you come to. So this is not only for shapes, this is for everything apart from text, because here you can create your custom shapes with the Bézier tool. You can create your logo with the Bézier tool. You can work with shapes. You can draw, right? You can actually draw from here. You can draw your illustrations, all of that. You can import images, import pictures. You can also add stickers from here. Look at this is stickers. You can also add arrow. You can create an arrow. Look at this. You can work on an arrow. Look at it, a lot of things here. You can change the color and all of that. So that is what this particular function is for. Right, now let's start on the first one. Click on sticker. Now from sticker, there are a lot of sticker here that you can use. Meanwhile, I don't use them though, but then that's because I've not actually been working with them, right? I've not been working on designs that probably require them actually. So that is what this is for. But then like I said, I don't use them, but then they are amazing. Like you can see on my screen, look at a lot of text, a lot of stickers rather. Look at them, a lot of stickers, and you can start to use them. So now click on this sticker, right? This one is sticker plus. So this sticker plus is not actually available except you are on premium, right? For example, if you are using the app you downloaded from Play Store, whenever you click on this, many times it will ask you to input your card details, and that's because you have to pay to be able to access many of the stickers in here. But then because I'm using a modified app, so that is why they are not disturbing with that actually. So click on stickers, and then here you just come in contact with more stickers. And I think one thing I love about this is the fact that there are some lens flare here. Okay, I don't think I have them again, but I used to have some lens flare here that I can always use. But then that is okay. Yeah, look at some things here, some badges here. Look at this one is approved, quality, exclusive. So if you are working on the flyer, for example, look at this is free, original. If you are working on the flyer or you are working on the product design using Pixellab, App, you probably find some of these things very, very useful. Look at lens flare. Can you see? No, this is lens flare actually. Yeah, this is lens flare. So look at a lot of lens flare. This lens flare, you find them very, very handy too. I use them to I have a tutorial on my channel where that deals with just lens flare and all of that. So I don't actually use from here, but then you probably find them handy. But then I use another software, another app for my lens flare. I have about a couple of tutorials on my channel, on my YouTube channel. So this is emoji, this for emoji, and then from here you can use emojis and all of that. So that is that about that. I'm going to delete this right now, but then you realize something. As I click on stickers, just like this, some features became available. Let me undo it. Can you see it? A lot of features became available, but then we are still going to come to that, because every of the features available here will also be available. We also be available when we are working with shapes. I don't know if you get that. Every of the features available when I click on stickers, they don't have different features for each of this except for some. But then for shapes especially is the same feature. Yeah, almost the same feature. I think even shapes has more feature, but all the features you saw under stickers are going to be available under shapes too. That's the amazing thing here, right? So let me delete this. Now this next one is import. So this way you can import your images, you can import your shapes. Let's say you downloaded another shape, you can import it, you can import your backgrounds, whatever you want to work with. This is where to import them. So I can decide to, I think I used this on a recent design, on a design I worked on recently. So yeah, look at this, very amazing. So I can decide to import and look at it. I can decide to adjust. So let me just talk about this here. I can decide to adjust this. I can decide to crop it directly from here, and yeah, work with what I cropped. Then from here, let's assume that this is for actually freehand. Look at it, this is for freehand cropping, right? But then you can decide to crop it into, look at this, you can decide to work with this. Actually, this one is for square, right? So this one is for square, I mean this. So just, yeah, look at this, can you see it? So this is for square, right? This is for square, then this is for yeah, look at this. So basically that is what all of this is for. It's just for different shapes. You can decide to use different shapes and all of that. So yeah, I can decide to work with this. So it just depends on what you want, basically. Sorry, it depends on what you want. So if I want to return it back to its original frame, so all I have to do is just to click on this. Look at this, just click on this and it's going to be returned back. Now you realize something, I can no longer adjust this from here, I can only adjust it from here. So if I don't want that, all I have to do is very simple, just tap on this. Look at it, it means it's been logged. So just tap on this, and yeah, you can see you can now adjust it from here. You can now adjust this from here. So yeah, that is that. This is for rotating, look at it, this is for rotating, all of that. So this is for reflection. Look at this, is mirror. Look at this, is mirror reflection, I mean horizontally. This is mirror reflection horizontally. This is vertical mirror reflection, vertical mirror reflection. Can you see it? So this is for canceling. Let's say I don't want the image I just imported again. That is what this is for. I can decide to mark it if I want it, just like I want it. So here too, there are so many features, like I mean so many things you can do here, and I will also talk about them when I get to shapes. So but then this is one amazing one here. You can decide to reselect another image. So just reselect here, and yeah, so I can decide to pick another image if I don't want, and that. So mark it and it's going to replace it. So that is that about that. Now let me just delete this. So the next thing is draw, right? The next thing here is draw. Look at draw. So what this is for is to draw. You can just draw whatever you want to draw from here. Can you see it? I can decide to draw. I know I'm practically drawing rubbish at the moment, but then if I want to undo it one after the other, that is what that is for. So let's say I'm drawing all of this. Can you see? Let's say I'm drawing all of this and then I want to undo them one after the other. Let's say I made a mistake with the last step and I just want to undo that step. So that is what this is for. Can you see it? Unfortunately, you can't redo. So that is one thing about this, and you need to be careful about that. Now if I want to clear everything, let's say that, come on, I just come to a point where I admit that, guy, you've been drawing rubbish. So all I have to do is just to click on this and everything will be cleared. The whole workspace is going to be cleared. Now let's assume that I want to reduce the pen of my the size of my pen. So all I have to do is just to reduce it to my text, and then I can keep drawing, right? Okay, so I can keep drawing. So if you are new to this channel, please, that's if you are watching this from my channel, ensure you subscribe. Right? So that is that about that. Now the next thing is from here you can also increase the pen size, right? You got it. Yeah, you can also increase the pen size. Then also you can increase the smoothness. Can you see? Look at this, is the smoothness is now increased. So all those gaps, you will see less of them. So for example, let me undo this. Then let me reduce this smoothness to 0, right? Let me reduce the smoothness to 0. and then draw a straight line. Can you see? Quite rough. But then let me increase the smoothness to the highest. Can you see? Let me show you the difference. You can see the difference between them. This is quite rough, while this is actually smoother. So that is what this is for. Now this one is fill inside. Right now what this means is that it's going to fill inside your shape. So for example, look at it. Can you see? Look at it. See the way it fills inside the shape. So you can see it. Even if I draw rubbish like this, it's going to fill inside. Can you see? So that is what this is for actually. Yeah. So let me clear this. Then the next thing is dashed line. So I can decide to look at it. So this is going to be dashed automatically, right? So let me make the size of my pen smaller. Yeah, so that I can decide to do something like this. Can you see it? Automatically it's creating the dashed line. I'm not the one creating or even trying to create the dashed line. It is creating by itself. So yeah, what does this look like? Yeah, this look like something. So let me know if you get that. If you are watching this on my YouTube, just drop what this looks like to you in the comment section. If you are watching this on my yeah, wherever you are watching this, just let me know, right? Let me know, just drop it. So let me undo this. Now this is neon. What this does is that it's more like create a glow, right? So look at it. Can you see it? Can you see it's creating that glow? So you can see it's more like creating a glow around my yeah, around my line, whatever I'm drawing. So you can see it. Yeah, so you can actually reduce or increase the blur radius, and yeah, you can increase the blur radius here. So can you see? I mean the blur radius, not of the neon now, because you can actually work with this without even the neon. So this is blur radius of your, look at it. Yeah, so this is the blur radius of your line or whatever you are drawing. So that is what this is for. So that is all about the draw. Now the next thing is, yeah, I didn't draw anything. Yeah, I know, thank you. The next thing is shapes. But before shapes, look at the Bézier. Now I'm not going to talk about this too, because but this is for, I use this to create logos. Look at it. You can create illustrations, you can vectorize illustrations, vectorize sketches, like do crazy things with this tool. Come on, I don't want to say this is the craziest tool. I mean, this is the most amazing tool, right? On Pixellab, right? There are all other tools are very amazing and they are unique in their ways, but this one is on another level. It's just amazing. Meanwhile, I'm not going to talk in details about this. I have a whole series in my playlist on my YouTube on this particular subject, so you just check and you see the Bézier 2 series. I had to create a series on that because a lot of people are struggling with that too, and I know how much I didn't struggle with it that much, but it actually a very big thorn in the flesh of a lot of Pixellab users. Now this is arrow. You can decide to create arrows from here. I'm not going to talk much about this because I don't use this actually very well, but then it's yeah, it's an amazing tool. Also, you can also explore and just check it out yourself. It's quite amazing. Right now, that is that about arrow. Now back to shapes, because this is where I'm actually going to talk about a couple of things. Now click on shapes. Yeah, you can't see anything now because I'm working with a white background and the color of my shape is white. So the first thing I'll talk about in that shape is white, that you can change the color from here. So you don't need to mark it before you go and change the color. Do you know that an issue with that, actually, let me just mention that, is that if you change the color from here, let me show you something, because I use shapes very well. I use shapes a lot, especially for my background manipulation. So you can just watch go to my channel and check out my videos on my background manipulation, especially a video I talk about, I think, 3 ways to manipulate backgrounds. You will see that I use shapes very well there. So now let me if you change the color from here, can you see what I just did? I mean, instead of just editing the shape directly from here, right? Instead of just editing the shape directly from here, look at, oh come on, sorry. Yeah, look at edit here. Look at edit here. So once you click on any shape, this particular box, this particular function become active. So from here you can change the shape and do whatever you want to do. So from here you can actually change the color. But then let me just talk about something. One thing is, if you come here, for example, and you change the color directly from here instead of changing it before you mark it. What will happen is that once you enable texture, your texture will not be visible. That's one thing you need to know. So if I mark this now, look at it, you can't see anything until I come to color and I close this. I disable the color. If I enable it, look at it. If I disable it, you begin to see it. That's the thing. So you have to choose between one. But then one way to actually solve that, in fact, one way to not experience this, is to change your color directly from here. So if I delete it, let me delete this now. Once you click on shape, before clicking on this, if you feel like you want to adjust the color from here before clicking on this. And even if you mistakenly or you intentionally click on this, if you want to adjust the color, come back here, look at edit here, click on edit, and from here you can change your color to whatever you want, right? You can change your color to whatever you want from here. There's nothing really spectacular about changing the color from the other place apart from here. That's one thing you need to know. Right now, from here, you can, once you click on this, you can pick any other shape that you want. There are so many shapes, like you can see on my screen. There is circle, there is semicircle, there is pop-up, like there is this, so many. This is I think hexagon. So there are so many shapes actually, so it depends on what you want. And let's go back to square. Now from square, you can actually increase the radius. That radius means talking about the edges. If you want it to be more softer than this rather than sharp, you can just increase it to your taste. Can you see? So you can, if you increase it to the highest, it forms a circle. If you adjust the look at it, can you see what's happening? So you can always maximize this too. Right now, the next thing is fill. Okay, yeah, look at this fill function. From here, you can reduce the opacity, increase the opacity. From here, you can reduce the opacity, you can increase the opacity, your choice. Then you can also add color here. Quite simple. Look at, you can just change color or use gradient if you want to use gradient. Can you see? Use gradient. If you click on this plus, from here you see different gradient styles. So it depends on what you want. These are different gradient styles. Now you can also decide to add more gradient slides basically. So you can decide to add more depending on your choice. So this one is to add you can add. This one is to subtract. You can subtract from here. Then this one is to move from one to the other. Let's say you don't want to, for whatever reason, you can't tap. Maybe if you feel like if you tap on one, it's going to disrupt another one. So you can decide to just use this to move them from one to the other. Then this one is to move it to the right, this one is to move it to the left. You can see this yellow thing, right? So if I move it to the right, you can see it moving. If I move it to the left, you can see it moving. Now this one is for changing this. So if you want to alternate this, if you want all of this that you can see here to be here, why this particular one to be here, look at this. Can you see it? More like creating an opposite of it, like if you just want to alternate it, depending on your choice. Now this one is to pick this one is to adjust the color. Let's say I want to adjust the color of this slide, I just tap on this and adjust it. Let's say I want to adjust the color of this slide, I just tap on this, and then you can select whatever color you want. You can adjust this, increase the tint, you can increase the shade, you can increase the opacity, right? If you want this to, look at this, can you see it? If you want that place to be void of any color, right, you just want it to be to have opacity, then yeah. And in fact, this is one thing you can do if you go and change the color from the other end. That is one thing you can do. So you can actually create a gradient like this, a fade. Yeah, I think this is called fade. So you can actually create a fade effect like this if you change the color from the other place instead of doing that from here. So that is one thing you need to know. And yeah, back to our gradients, I think the last thing I need to mention is that you can actually pick a color from whatever image that is on your workspace. I mean on your Pixellab workspace. If you have an image, if you have a design there that you want to pick a color from, you can actually do that from here. For example, this on my workspace, I can mark it and just pick this color depending on my choice. So but then on the color sheet, you can also look at this is pen. This is a pen icon or a pencil icon. From here, you can actually change the color code. Let's say you have a color code. In fact, you can adjust red, you can adjust the green, you can adjust the blue. right? That's RGB. You can adjust all of that to your taste. So you can also change the color code from here. You can just type any color code that you know or you have in mind. All right, so that is that about that. Now the next thing is I want to use just a single color, please. All right, because of the sake of this tutorial. Now the next thing, like I said, the next thing that you need to know is, let me reduce this opacity. Right, you can decide to add stroke. Look at the stroke. You can decide to add stroke for whatever reason. Yeah, you can decide to add stroke. You can also decide to reduce the opacity of your stroke. So I can decide to also let this be filled so you can see what I formed. Can you see what I just formed? So it's let me reduce. Okay, so yeah, sorry. So I can decide to increase the stroke. Look at it. I can decide to increase the opacity of the stroke depending on my choice. I can decide to change the color of the stroke from here. Can you see? I can decide to change the color of the stroke from here. I can decide to make the edges of the stroke. Look at it. I can decide to make it curved. I can decide to make this sharp, right? More form like a line, something like that. Then I can decide to make this. Can you see it? I can decide to make it sharp. All right. Now the next thing is blur radius of your stroke. So I can decide to increase the blur radius. Can you see what I'm forming? Come on, I use this a lot. I use this a lot actually. I use this a lot. So you can see what I'm forming. So yeah, that is that about that. That is that about that. So I can change this color and just change the color to this and then mark it. Now I think one downside to this is if I decide to add texture to this now, it's going to remove the stroke. Like it's not going to care that there's a stroke there. Sorry, that's one thing you need to take note of too. If I decide to add a texture to this now, so what I do whenever I want to add a texture to my shape is simple. I don't add a stroke from here, so I just first add my texture, then I come to this other stroke here. You can see that there are two ways you can add stroke to a shape. So I just come here and I just add my stroke directly. So I can also decide to add stroke here. You can see, can you see? I can decide to add stroke here too. So there are two ways. Those are the two ways to add a stroke. Yeah, stroke. Let me change the color. Yeah, look at what I just formed. Very amazing. Well, okay. So the next thing is this, right? Okay, sorry. All right, so the next thing is to work on each of these. Well, this one is for deleting, this one is for crop. So from here you can actually crop. Yeah, you can crop your shape to your text. Can you see what I just did? So you can actually crop here. Then I think apart from that, every other thing is consistent with the same thing with text. So you can copy, you can bring this to front, to back, position, relative size, right? Yeah, I don't think I mentioned this in text. So text tone is just size. This relative size is to actually reduce the size relatively. Can you see? Right? Can you say reduce the size relatively? You can do that manually from here by just doing this. Can you see? Yeah, you can do that manually from here. And this same thing applies to images. This same thing applies to stickers, right? It applies to all of that. Now, if you don't want to maintain the ratio, you can actually disable that. And then, yeah, if you don't want to maintain the ratio, you can actually disable that. And then you may, like, what this maintaining ratio means is that if I enable this now and I reduce this, the width and the height, this is the width, this is the height, everything is going to move at the same time. But if I decide not to maintain the ratio, I can adjust only the width, look at it, and the height is not going to move with it. I can decide to adjust only the height and the move is not going to move with it. So that is the difference between the maintain and yeah, if you decide to maintain ratio. But I don't want to maintain, so let me just cancel it because I don't want to adjust the relative size. This is color. I've spoken about this already. Texture, opacity. This is color filters. Now this same thing applies to images, and in fact, guys, I use this very, very well, especially when I want to adjust. I want to edit the color of my images. I want to edit some things about my images. So you can see some things here that the color is changing. Can you see? So that is what this particular feature is for. So you can adjust the brightness, you can adjust the contrast, you can adjust the saturation, you can adjust the hue, you can decide to change the color to your taste. So that is what this feature is for. Yeah, so now the next thing is eraser, right? You can decide to erase. Yeah, this particular one is to, yeah, look at it, you can decide to erase. Yeah, so yeah, though I use this very well in my background manipulation. Just watch that video. My background manipulation is on my channel. I talk about this particular function in details, but majorly it's for erasing. Okay, now this is mask. I've spoken about mask already. I'm not going to touch on that here again. I've spoken about, okay, erase color. Now what this erase color is for is quite simple. If I want to erase this color now from here, I'll have to do just to pick it. Look at it. I just pick it and then I mark it. Can you see the color has been erased? Yeah, the color has been erased. I use this very well, especially when I'm dealing with black and white. So I use it to erase the white from my black. Let's assume that I download the PNG from Google and I want to reduce the white part of the PNG and just be left with the PNG, the icon itself. I mean just the black part. So I use this very well. So yeah, that is what this is about. Yeah, that's what the erase color is about basically. So it's to erase color. So this rotates, as spoken about, this is just to rotate. 3D rotate to, yeah, similar function with that of text. 3D shape, so yeah, basically the same thing too with that of 3D text. So we have perspective. Yeah, I explained this also. It's the same thing, no different. Yeah, it's just to adjust the perspective. So you can see what I just formed. Yeah, with perspective. So that is what that is about. Then the next thing is actually to yeah, what is the next thing is inner shadow. So you can adjust the shadow to, I've spoken about this to earlier. It's the same thing. You can decide to adjust the shadow. You can decide to adjust the inner shadow. I use this a lot. Actually. You can decide to adjust the inner shadow. You can decide, look at it. Can you see the inner shadow? You can decide to adjust the inner shadow. It depends on your choice. Now the next thing is emboss. I've spoken about emboss that is not working, and that is the last year. Right now, that is that about that. Now the next thing is this. Right, the next thing is this particular function. Now this one is for the background. Like this one is for anything background. Like it's quite straightforward because this one is just for background. So if you want to change the color of your background, you can do that from here and change it to whatever color you want. It depends on what you want. So the next thing is transparent. You can decide to make your background transparent. Let's say for example now I want to export this particular image, but I don't want it to have a background. So that is where this comes in very handy. So yeah, go back. Yeah, the next thing is image size. So this one is very important, very important. Let's assume that you want to adjust your image size. You don't want it to be square. There are some here already that you can actually use. Twitter header size, Google Plus cover size, Facebook, YouTube thumbnail. I use this a lot for my YouTube thumbnails. As if you are watching this on my YouTube, I use it a lot. So you can decide to click on OK and it's going to adjust it. I mean the size of your workspace. And the amazing thing here is you can also work with a custom. So you can decide to actually customize your own. If you have an idea of the size you want to work with, you can decide to research and just bring in. This is actually in pixels, so that is the only way. Yeah, that is what Pixellab works with. Pixel, no inches. So if you want to work in inches, if you want to work in feet, if you want to work in yards, if you want to work in centimeters, in meters, what you have to do is that you have to convert it to pixels, then come and input the figures here. So click on OK, and that is that about that. Now this is crop. Now this crop become active if you import an image from gallery here as background, automatically as background. Okay. All right, so the next thing here is, okay, like I said, the background. So transparent is going to make this whole thing transparent. Now crop, you can only use it when you import and a background directly from your gallery through this place. Right, this is for importing. Once I click on this now, I think I should even do that so that you see how that looks. So I can just come here, I can click on this guy, then mark it. Can you see? So the whole background. Now this particular one I can't, the only way I can edit it is by using this. I'm going to get a in a minute, so just stay with me. So but then you can see now that the crop feature now is now enabled. So from here I can decide to move this up. Maybe I want this face to show very well, then I can mark it so you can see that it is now cropped, right? So you can see it, look at it, the handsome guy. So yeah, this is it, that is that about that. So this is still the background. Then from here, all right, this particular one is to select images that are already available in Pixellab, right? Look at it, these are some gradient already available. They are like templates, right? There are a lot of them actually, so you can always work with any of them that you feel is okay. I don't use them actually, I can't remember the last time I used any of them, but then I feel like somehow they are nice somehow. It depends on your choice actually. It depends on your choice, it depends on what you want. So that is image, but then from gallery is to pick from your phone gallery. From camera, once you click on this, it means you want to take a picture of a background directly with your phone camera. So that is what that is about. So that is what this particular function or feature, whatever you call it, that is what it is about basically. All right, so now the next thing is this, right? This is to edit your background. This is for the background too, like this is for the background, and the O workspace, right? So this is for the background and the O workspace. Let me come again. This particular feature is for the background and the O workspace. But then before I come to this, yeah, because this is very important, before I come to this, let me just talk quickly about this, right? And this too. Let me just talk quickly about this and this. Now if I'm working on any element and I click on it from here, I can I can do a couple of things on that element from here. Now the first thing is I can, for example, now let me make this visible. Okay, so I already told you about one feature already. Now very simple. I've spoken about one feature already, which is that you can hide. For example, now let's assume that for whatever reason I don't want to touch, maybe I'm working with a lot of elements and I don't want to tamper and I don't want them to disturb each other, and I need to work on one that is close to another one, right? I can decide to lock one of them. So if I lock it, see, this is what will happen. Look at it, I can't move it, nothing can move it again. Can you see? Look, I lock this, nothing can move it again. Now I can also hide it. So let's say that even after locking it, I still need to see something that I'm moving. I can decide to hide it. So I can decide to hide the element like I've done. Look at my cursor, I just hid it, right? I just hid it from here. So you can decide to hide it. The another thing is that you can decide to even edit it from here. You can decide to do a couple of things on it from here. Like if I click on this, you can decide to copy it. Can you see? This icon is for copying. Sorry, this icon is to copy. This one is for relative position. Look at this. Yeah, relative position basically. Oh, sorry, relative size. Sorry, I meant relative size, not relative position, please. Relative size. So I told you about this earlier. So this is for to copy. This is for relative size. This is for relative position, right? This is for relative position. Can you see it? Look at it. So that is for relative position. I spoke about that too. I plug it, I can move it. All right, now this one is to rotate, right? This is normal rotate, to rotate left or right, yeah, depending on your choice. This one is to move it up, like totally up, right? Totally up, like I mean bring it to it being the first element, right? The first element in this workspace. Why this one is to make it the last. Can you see? So no matter how long, look at it, can get so long depending on the project I'm working on, depending on the number of elements I have to use. So I can bring it up totally, right? I can take it down totally too, and the same thing applies to every other element. Now let's assume that I don't want to take this down totally and I don't want to bring this up totally. I want to take it under a particular element. It's quite simple. I can also do that from here. All I have to do is just to tap on this. Look at this, tap on this and drag it. Please, if you tap on this, nothing is going to happen. If you tap on this, nothing is going to happen. If you tap on this, nothing is going to happen apart from the other things here that are supposed to happen. But look at this, like this dotted yeah, like it look like dots, right? So once you tap it and hold it, tap and hold it, then you can move it down to wherever you want it to be, right? You can move it out to wherever you want it to be, no matter how plenty the element is. You can, if I decide if I want to move it under this one now, all I have to do is just to move it, sorry, all I have to do is just to move it under this, right? So it's quite simple. If I want to move this under this, it's quite simple. Can you see it? It's as simple as that. I can decide to move it under anyone I want to move it to. So that is how it's done. Now this one is to hide it. I've spoken about this. Then this one is to delete it. Can you see? That is to delete it. Then this one, look at this particular tool, is to undo, right? This particular tool is undo, but on Pixellab there is no redo button. So you can't redo on Pixellab. Please note that you can only undo. So whenever you are working and you are trying to undo a particular function or a particular work, please take that in mind. Understand the fact that you can't redo. So you need to take note of that. So this is for to undo, and now look at it, it's back. See, I just undo that. So now for this, if you click on this, it's just to see some other features that I've mentioned. This one is to edit. So from here now I can edit my text. Can you see? To edit my text. This one is to copy. This one is the text itself. So if I click on this, you can see I can increase the size. So this is to increase the size of the text. So yeah, this is it. So I can increase the size, I can rotate, this is relative position, I can change the color, I can bring it to front, I can take it to back. Right now, if I tap on shape, yeah, these functions changes to, look at it, you can copy. Like, it's basically the same function that is usually here. Can you see? It's the same function that's normally here. Like all the functions that are here, that's what you see here. But then let me tell you something. Whenever you are not clicking on any element, right? Whenever you are not clicking on any element, you realize that, look at it, you can't see anything here again. It changes to just Pixellab. Can you see? But then if I click on this, you can see that I can delete from here too. I can delete. Don't delete, please. I can also edit. But then if I don't click on any element, don't forget that this is just the background, and the background I can't move it, right? So I'm not clicking on any element basically here. So now if you click on this plus, you can add text, you can add current date. Look at this, is the current date from here. So this one is to add text, you can add current date, you can add a sticker. I showed you guys stickers. You can add shapes, you can bring images, you can import images from galleries, you can draw. Just like, it's not different from everything I've shown you, both in the part 1 of this video and even here. Now this one is to save. So let's assume that this is the design I want to create. Once you click on this, you can save as project or you can save as image. Now if you remember in the part 1, I spoke about this save as project. If I come here, you will see all the projects I saved. Now the only reason why you can see all of them here, the only reason why they are all here is because I did something. I saved them as projects. Can you see? You can save them with whatever name you want that you can use to remember them or whatever. So that is what this is for. Then you click on OK and it saves. So I save as project, and I would advise you to always save your work as project, especially intermittently. Why? Because anything can happen, so you have to be very, very careful. So this is save as image, so you can also save as image. Let's assume that maybe after working on your design, you want to export your design. Yeah, this is also called export. You can also export it. So you can export as JPEG or as PNG. It depends on your choice. So you can, from here to, you can adjust the width. But then I won't advise you to adjust the width from here. I believe you should do that already from your background, like I mean what I showed you earlier. So from here you can save as default. That this default is just talking about the dimensions, like it is the default dimension, that is the one you set here. So you can save as custom. It is a custom that you can also do that here. Then you can save as low. Well, I always advise you, if you want the best quality, to always save your work as ultra. Always save your work as ultra. Now you can now click on save to gallery, and yeah, it saves, it render images. It can take as long as possible, it can be as short as possible, depending on how heavy your work is. So that is that. Now this one is to share. It's basically the same thing, right? It's basically the same thing to export to. Just that if you click on this, they won't give you option to save as project. So this one is just to save as image directly, or you can also do all of that here. So yeah, so quotes, I spoke about this earlier too, under text. Then this three dots, you can use image from gallery. Now what this is for is just to bring in images from gallery. I've spoken about this a couple of times. So this one is for backgrounds too. So it's for background. So when you see, oh come on, let me change my background color. to this, right? So this particular one, use image from galleries for the background, full screen. Yeah, full screen. I don't use this that much, right? But then this is just to give you an idea of what your design looks like. So if you want to see your design in full screen, or the project you are working on in full screen, then that is what this particular one is for. So now that is how to go back. So this is full screen. Use image from camera, that is for the background too. I showed you that from here. Then if you want to export your image, you can also do that from here, but I think this one is faster. I think this one is actually faster. So yeah, but then you can also do that from here. You can export your image from here. The image size I showed you earlier, that's from the background here. You can actually change your image size from here, but now you now know that you can do that from here. These are tutorials. This tutorial on how to use the app, but then I don't think you need them. Like, that's literally what I've been showing you in this video. So yeah, it's that simple. In fact, the one is not as detailed. I don't think theirs is as detailed as this. So recover to save, right? So let me just mention this. There are times where you are working on your project and for whatever reason you forgot to save, and maybe your phone shut down or your Pixellab app just closes. I don't know, that can happen for whatever reason. Maybe your phone is having issue with the space and all, but that doesn't happen frequently with me. But I'm just trying to bring up circumstances that may happen where you will need to use your autosave. So in that situation, so that you don't lose your work totally, that is why there's autosave. So this saves from as far back as it saves like 10 options: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 actually. 1 2, yeah, it's 11. So you can save from, for example, now I'm currently, what's the time? The time is currently 3:01, right? From here. So if I want to recover the save, I can recover the save from as far back as 2:49, right? Yeah, I can from 2:49. So that's not even a long time. So that's one thing you need to take note of, right? So that is that about that. Now you know what, this one is open PLP file. I spoke about this in the part 1. See, even if you click on open PLP file here, it's going to take you to the one I showed you here. So you still have to click from here. Yeah, still have to click from here. And if you want to share PLP file, you use this. If you want to delete PLP file, you use this. So I spoke about that. I said I have a specific video on that, so you can always check my channel in Iniski Designs to get the image. So this is just about Pixellab. So yeah, using all of that. So that is just, this is mode app, so that is why you are seeing all of those. So now exit, I can decide to exit. Let me click on exit. Are you sure you want to exit Pixellab? Oh, I'm sure, but no, I don't want to exit because of you, right? So that is that about that. I've literally shown you everything. Oh, sorry, this one is to undo, like I said, right? This one is to undo, like I said. This one is to zoom, right? You can use this to zoom your work. So you can use this to zoom your work. Actually, all you have to do is just to use your two ends and increase and reduce it. You use your two ends on your screen to increase and reduce it. Can you see? So that is what this is for. So that is what that is for. So yeah, to close it, just tap on this. Yeah, it's that simple. Let's assume that you zoom it, because when you zoom it, every other thing here becomes inactive, like more like you can't do anything on the screen. So let's say you zoom it now. For example, let's say I'm working on this part and I need to pay attention to something there. So I can just lock it, right? I can lock it and then I can adjust whatever I want to adjust. Then when I'm ready to return it back, I just tap on it. Can you see? Can you see what I just did? From 2, look at this, is even 500. From 500, that's the highest, I think. So let's say I'm done working on it. Let's say I've worked on everything I want to work on. To bring it back, I can just click on this and it goes down to the lowest, this, which is 100, and then you can return it back to its default state. So which is this. So now the next thing is grids. Oh, come on, I use this very well for alignment. I use this to align my work, so I use this very well. So that's one thing you may need to actually pay attention to. So this is it. Yeah, this is my grid line. I use this. I think I have a video on that. Yeah, I think I have a video on that, or I think I spoke about that under my Bézier 2 series. So yeah, you just need to pay attention to grid lines. I use it very well, like to ensure that my work is aligned. And in fact, I spoke about it in detail. Just check the playlist. Just go to my channel, Iniski Designs, look under the playlist, you see the Bézier 2 series. Just check, I think the first or second video in the series, I spoke about the grid line. In fact, I spoke about it in details, because there's no way you can actually maximize the Bézier 2 without using guidelines. So go and watch the video on guidelines. Now this one is for to see your elements and to be able to adjust your element. Now let me talk about this quickly. If you click on this, look at this. If you click on this, a list of things show up, right? A list of things show up from here. Now this one is to delete, so I can decide to delete an element. Look at, you haven't selected anything, so I can decide to select this, for example, and I'll delete it. That is what this is for. Now this one sorry, this one, let me select, right? Let me select. So for this one to happen, you have to select, right? Now that this one is for selecting. Let me show you what it looks like again. So tap on this. Now if I select this and I select this, can you see what I just did? So this one you can only work when you select more than one, when you select one element or more than one. So if I select this, now I can decide to select 1, 2 and 3. Then if I click on this, I can decide to rotate the 3 at once. Look at it. Can you see it? Come on, this is an amazing feature. This is an amazing feature, guys. This is an amazing feature. So yeah, that is what this is about. So I can decide to select 32 and do some other things. Like I can decide to lock all of these at once, so that I don't need to lock them one after the other. I can decide to unlock everything at once too. I can decide to hide everything at once, so I don't need to hide them one after the other. Then you can also hide them one after the other from here. It depends on your choice, basically. All right, now this one is to merge. Right? This one is very, very amazing. So let's say that I'm done, but then you have to actually be careful here, right? Be sure that you're done with the element before you merge it. So let's add down to merge. All you have to do is just to select all the elements you want to merge together. Let's say you want to select only 2, or maybe all the 30, or everything, depending on the number of elements you are working on. Just tap on this and click on OK, and then everything is merged. Guys, look at it, our element is now merged. So yeah, to unmerge them, you can actually unmerge them. Actually, I don't think you can. You can't unmerge them. So you just have to undo them, provided you've not gone too far in working with the merged element, right? So now the next thing here is this, and this one is to mark, right? So once you click on this, you realize that some boxes show. So here you can click on the boxes and then work with whichever one you want to work with. But then if you don't want to work with any of these, or let's say you are done with working with them, you can now click on this, and then it takes you back. Right? Sorry. Okay, so it takes you back, basically. So that is what that is for. Now the next thing here is this particular one, and this one is to reduce. Can you see? Let's assume that this is covering some things that you need to see, and you still want this to be active and this too. So you can actually reduce this and take this in a bit more in, and that is that about that. All right, so that is that about that. Now the next and the last feature I'm talking about is this, right? I hope I've not missed anyone. If I've missed anyone, just let me know in the comment section, but I don't think I've missed anyone. I was talking about literally everything you need to know here. Now if you click on this one is to adjust the background. Basically, it's majorly for the background, but then you can use it for other things. So let me start from rotate. If you click on rotate, if you click on rotate, it looks like nothing is happening. The simple reason why it looks like nothing is happening is because our background is made up of just yellow. Now let me try something. Let me click on from gallery. You will see what I'm talking about now, because I want you to see what I'm talking about. I want you to really see it. So let me move this up. Let me mark it. Now click on this rotate and click on rotate. Can you see it? Can you see what's happening? Can you see what is happening, guys? Can you see what is happening? Our background is rotating. So that's one thing you need to know, guys. That's one thing you need to know. I need to undo it. Right? So that is what that is for. Now this vignette is, once you enable this vignette, can you see what's happening? So this is what vignette is about. It just kind of surrounds it with, and you can change the color. Yeah, you can change the color to whatever you want. So you can reduce the opacity to, and yeah. I don't use this often though, but then that's what it's for. So you can have the need to use it. It depends on you. Now this noise, this one is amazing, because this noise is actually very, very cool. Is to add noise to your design, to your background. Yeah, your background basically. So from here you can increase the noise. Can you see it? Or reduce the noise, and that means that you can actually reduce the enhance. Can you see? Can you see what it looks like? Oh, come on. Can you see what it looks like? It looks great. So you can actually work with this depending on your choice. I don't work with this most times though, but I think I've used it once when I was trying to manipulate my background. So I use this mainly for my backgrounds actually. Right? So disable this. Now the next thing is stripes. So click on stripes. Enable stripes. Oh, come on. I use this for my background sometimes. In fact, rare, on rare occasions actually, right? Because I actually can work with shape to replace this. So but then you can, this alpha is to reduce the opacity, to reduce the opacity, right? Increase the opacity, reduce the opacity. Now this one is to repeat. You can actually, yeah, you can actually make it show little, just a few, or you want it to repeat it very well, then you can increase it. It just depends on you, your choice. So you can reduce the opacity, but then you can't change the color though, but then just have to reduce the opacity, and then you can see it softly showing in the background. So that is what these stripes is about. Now brightness is to increase your brightness, yeah, just like what it's called. So from here, look at it, you can reduce your brightness, you can increase your brightness, reduce your brightness, increase the brightness of just the background. So yeah. So contrast, come on, contrast, you can use contrast to actually look at it. It's not like brightness though, but contrast is more like align the bright part to be more obvious, while the dark part be more, it's more like, I think it's more like concentration. I think that's what contrast is more like. So it's more like if there's a white part, it makes it brighter, it makes it more brighter somehow. Then if there's a dark part, it makes it more darker, that kind of thing. That's what contrast does actually. So it's not brightness. So mark it. Then we have hue. Hue is changing the color, right? Hue is just the word for color. So if you want to change the color, yeah, so can you see? So I'm changing the colors now. So that's what it's about. Like anywhere you see hue, that's practically what it's about. So mark it. And then we have saturation, which is the last. So click on saturation, and then you can increase the saturation, right? Saturation is more like increasing the intensity of that color, or reducing the intensity. So when it wants to reduce saturation to 0 or minus 100 in this case, you realize that it kind of gives this black and white feel. It makes it look like black and white. Yeah, and that is that about that. So in this video, I believe you've learned how to navigate through the Pixellab app. I've touched on everything, I mean every single thing about this app, and I believe that if you watch to this point, you've learned so much. If you are watching this video on my YouTube channel, maybe if you are watching this video on my YouTube channel, ensure you drop a comment. You can't watch to this point and not drop a comment. So ensure that you drop a comment and do what you have to do, like subscribing, liking the video, and all of that. Now if you are not watching this video on the channel, then of course all of this does not concern you. Now I'm very sure that you've learned a lot, and I'm glad that by now you now know how to use Pixellab app. Now if you want to know the things to use Pixellab for, like if you want to get better at design, because Pixellab is just a tool, right? Pixellab is just a tool. Pixellab cannot inspire your design, right? Design is different from Pixellab. You use Pixellab to design, but it's more like a tool. So if you want to learn how to design, if you want to see how to design with Pixellab, how I create mind-blowing designs, I mean crazy and mind-blowing designs, like you can see from my project, yeah, right? Crazy works, guys. These are crazy works, very amazing works. Okay, a lot of them. This was actually from last year. Yeah, I started creating this one from last year. I just left it at some point because I had to just focus on some other things. Look at a lot of them. Logos. Yeah, this was not created by me though. Yeah, this was created by one of my students. So Pixellab is a crazy tool, actually very amazing tool. And if you want to learn how to use this, yeah, if you're on my YouTube channel and you want to learn how to use this, just check the description box below, or you can reach out to me on Instagram, everywhere, to just or you can check out my channel, right? If you are not watching this on my channel, just check out my channel. I have amazing tutorials that you need to watch. And then if you are watching this maybe from my course, or if you are watching this from any other place, then one thing you need to know is you can reach out to me. Let's say you want to master the tool. I have a couple of courses, or my trainings. I have a couple of trainings on it that you can actually get, and yeah, I will directly mentor you. No, I don't mentor, but then I'll directly coach you. Yeah, that's the word. I'll directly coach you. All right, thank you so much for watching to this point. I'm going to see you in another video, hopefully.